Welcome back to the Booktroverts podcast. I'm McKayla.
I'm Meg.
And today we are doing part 3 of our Heat of the Everflame deep dive. This is the Kindred's Curse saga series by Penn Cole. We've already done videos on book 1, book 2, and pretty much half of book 3 at this point. So this will have spoilers for all of those books, including everything that happens in book 3. So like usual, if you've not read the book and you don't want to be spoiled, pause, come back to this once you have. And yeah, we're gonna try and finish up the last actual part 3 of the book, which chapters 46 through 75. So with that, Megan, passing it to you because you're our moderator.
Yeah, so I guess we will start off with we're calling the first section of part 3 because we tried to split it up that way we could keep the topics on track. So the first section is chapters 46 to 49, and this is basically the time that they have at the Lumnos Palace in preparation basically for Diem to go and save Orly from prison, because that is her main goal. The first part that happens in here that we kind of get is Alex is talking to Diem about the explosion at Diem's house, because when Diem found her dad, she was super devastated, and she was able to create Godstone. And Alex had met with someone back in Umbros who can actually work with raw Godstone and turn it into shields for the Descended. And then a little later, we also get info that Diem's godhood can also destroy Godstone, which has not been done before. So I'm curious, how do you see this going for the war? What do you see it doing? Good, bad? What are your thoughts?
Well, I did think it was cool that they made armor out of the Godstone, which I think will at least help them fight the Guardians. But my thought where I went with this is more on Diem's side, and I'm thinking maybe in book 4 will come out that she's somehow immune to Godstone. So at the end, jumping ahead, when Igneos gets stabbed by it and he's on the island with her, I wonder if maybe he'll try and use it against her, the Godstone or something, and it won't have an impact, because we do know she can make it.
Yeah.
She can destroy it, and her blood also cures Godstone wounds.
So why would she be?
So I'm assuming she would be immune from that.
None of that was English with what I tried to say, but yeah, good point.
The Guardians really, how else are they going to attack her? Because there's nothing else that at this point that they know of that can kill a Descended.
Right. And her shields are also great in terms of her magic on top of it. I mean,
yeah. And then, like we mentioned in the last episode, I do think maybe the Godstone part has something to do with the Everflame, which could then lead into that revelation with the theory that you think that she's somehow descended of the Everflame because of her mom. I think this will kind of all play into each other.
Interesting. I did not take it that way at all, but I like that route. I'm here for it.
But I do think it is going to be really interesting, because if all the Descended, or at least the army or the Lumnos army, has Godstone weapons and the armor that's Godstone, how are the Guardians even going to fight them?
I don't know. I mean, I really think a lot of it comes down to Daddy-O being able to do something in whatever his true powers are. Because I have a couple of theories and ideas of where he, what his power could be, just from what we've seen from him and Diem. But I mean, one strong person, again, alongside the mortals who don't have any powers to go against. I don't know. I think, and I'm jumping far ahead to literally the last couple pages of when she ends up getting, stabbed. And she says something along the lines of, it felt comforting and warm, but also,
Oh, I have thoughts on that. Do you want me to give you my theory now, or should I wait till the end?
Oh, okay. I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to go for it?
I can tell you it now if you want.
All right, go for it. I say go for it.
Okay, this is mixing in a bunch of stuff that comes in at the end, though. So that's where I think the mating bond happens, is at the end. Because remember when
she gets stabbed?
Yes. Because remember when they're in the Sopho's library?
Yeah.
And they're eating apples or whatever. And Luther cuts himself across the chest.
Yes.
And it's weird. It's why would you cut yourself cutting an apple like that? It's weird. Like, where were you?
Why
Okay.
was the apple next to your chest?
And I think we're in his POV or something, but like we get how he's describing it, and he's not in pain. He's describing it as like happiness, whatever. Then she goes to the island and leaves him behind. He looks at his palm and he's able to tell where she's going. So I'm like, is that your mark or is it mark up here? Like, I don't know. And when he gets on the island to her, he literally says, it worked.
I did not catch on to that at
So
all.
I'm thinking, okay, they gave us that whole spiel about like how you can do a
Yeah,
one-sided
yeah,
mating bond. So I think that's when he did his. And then when she gets stabbed, she's not in pain. She's saying like it's warm, it's like happiness,
yeah.
whatever. The same way he describes when he got cut. So I'm thinking now she's doing the mating bond. And
Oh
they
my
don't maybe don't
God.
even realize that they both did it one-sided.
Damn. Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking. I'll save the rest of where I think that theory will play into when we get there. But
Okay.
that's my preview.
All right. I like it. I have no notes.
Yeah.
I didn't take the whole Godstone thing that way in terms of her being able to destroy it as well as create it, because I really thought it was going to be more of how can this be weaponized across the board, but it would give her, I guess, more of a leg up on the competition against her father. Because I mean, and I know I'm doing a spoiler because at this point we don't know that he's her father, but throughout the rest of the part you do get there. So, like we said in the beginning, spoilers. But obviously, it's the only thing I think that's going to stop him. I think she's going to have to be the one who does it, which that gets into a whole section at the end that I don't want to dive into yet with Sophos,
Yeah.
but I feel like this wasn't just mentioned to say, yeah, we're going to use it for weapons and shields and stuff, to your point. So there has to be more to it. I just don't know. So I didn't go
Yeah.
as far as you did, but it can't just be a throwaway little thing.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, phew.
That's okay.
Here's my theories for book 4.
We just went right into it, and then we'll have to come back and go through the steps that got us there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after this, because we're at the palace, we have to deal with Remus. And obviously, Diem is not technically queen because she didn't go through her coronation because of all the stuff that went down. And so Remus, during this time, has told House Hanover about Zalaric being there and that he is from that house. And even though he has done that, he has also prevented Hanover from burning everyone in Mortal City. So he specifically says, I'm not your enemy, Diem, nor my sons, if only you both could overlook your tempers long enough to see it. I can't tell what he is doing because we talked about on last episode that Aemon, I felt like could have some redeeming qualities. I just don't know what Remus is trying to get at here because he knows he's on borrowed time. He has no magic. I don't know what he thinks he's going to get from this unless he is trying to find some angle to help these two out that we just aren't going to find out for a while.
I don't have any thoughts of how I feel about him. Like I don't know how to read him, just like we said.
Yeah.
Because he has that redeeming moment when he's like by Luther's bedside when we think he's dying.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Luther's fine and now he's being an asshole.
Right.
And basically telling Diem, you can't come in and make any changes. I'm in charge here. I'm telling everyone. Later, he tells the Fortos king she's not a queen and like trying to arrest her basically.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole thing that's going on of like him just then taking taking Saray and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where I am with him.
I don't know.
Because like you said, he's on borrowed time. So is this him just trying to go out like on top, powerful, wants to hold that facade?
Yeah.
Because he knows like his downfall is soon to come. I have no clue.
I don't understand it, and I keep trying to figure it out because even after writing my notes down, I said I still can't get a grasp on him. Like after reading the whole entire series up to, what we have out, I just don't know what his end goal is because he obviously only cares about House Corbrus being at the top and being the ones that are holding the crown. They've had it forever, but I just don't know if maybe it's the amount of politics that he knows for the 20 houses, that if he is trying to keep DM calm. I mean, granted, like we said in the last episode too, it's only been a span of what, maybe 3 months at tops for the entire 3 books.
Yeah.
I mean, he could just maybe he knows something we don't, and that it's supposed to be found at the end. I don't know. I just cannot get a good read on him at all. And it pisses me off. It just drives me nuts.
Everything about him pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when he's being good, I don't like him. One thing I did, because it was specific, kind of about Remus, but DM allows Taryn to see into her memory for her argument with Gareth and Remus, which I thought was really cool, that she's able just to say, like, okay, come and see my memories and everything. I just wanted to like highlight that. It wasn't really anything super important, but it's kind of nice that she was able to do that and give him that info.
It's a good way if people don't believe your intentions or don't believe what you did. You can be like, I can show you.
Right, exactly.
Especially, I think that will come in handy when she's trying to maybe do some like negotiating with the Guardians or the Mortals.
Ooh.
In maybe the next book, she could be like, no, like, this is my backstory. And maybe even show some of these conversations she's been having with people where she's been fighting for them. I don't know.
To add on top of that, with the Sophos magic, that you can literally remember everything, you know, that you've read.
Oh, she could share maybe like
She could share
little
info.
passages. Or, Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. That'll be cool.
That'd be really cool. And it's interesting because I know at the beginning of every single book, they kind of give the spiel of each realm and what their eye color is and what their power is and stuff like that. But I will admit, half the time I kind of just read through that and said, oh yeah, they have purple eyes, they have red eyes, cool, yeah. But
I didn't remember any of it.
Never fully went into depth with it compared to as we're now hopping each between, realms.
Yeah.
That
I was just like, some world building info. Okay,
Yeah.
get me to the chapter.
Right, exactly. Get me to chapter 1, which we're going to be in a long slow burn thing for 6 chapters. Yeah, so that was interesting. I do have to highlight our first Henry's a piece of shit moment was when DM sees him with Lana, who is the other healer. Are we just too good at guessing at this point with books? Because I totally saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah, the second it was alluded to that she was in the same area as him. I think it was at the end of Glow.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, of course, like, there's going to be something here. I did not need, like, this whole scene between the two of them.
No.
I really just continue to stand firm in my hatred of him. I mean, there's other people I definitely hate more than him now because he's really become a background character at this point. But everything he does annoys me when she's just a better fit for me. I'm like, no, because you could not see past your own biases and beliefs, and the second she became something else, she was dirt in your eyes, basically. So that was a you problem, not a her problem. So don't put that on her. I could not stand that. And then when DM's like trying to tell him, like, I actually did come to try and break up with you, and you weren't here. Because then they were like trying to say that she like cheated on him with Luther.
Yeah.
I hate you. And then the bombshell when he dropped that he knew the whole time where her mom was, but he couldn't tell her because, well, you weren't part of the Guardians. Are you kidding me?
But then she was.
Yeah. Your best friend from childhood. Number one person you've had in your life up to this point. Mom goes missing. Is distraught. Trying to find her. Can't get information. Feels like everyone's lying to her. You know the whole time, one, she's alive, and two, where she is, and you say nothing. And you just watch your best friend be in pain over this. I don't get it.
And what's crazy, we have talked about this. I forget which episode it was on this pod for this series, but we literally talked about how it was, they really hadn't been themselves, together in the past couple months because of her mom being gone and obviously thinking that she's dead and everything. And he's just kind of chill of like, yeah, I missed this. We should have been doing this the whole time, because he knew that where she was and that DM just needed to get over it basically and move on. It
Yeah.
was
And this basically
crazy.
confirms he's one of the three that knew in
Yeah.
that orally POV, but this pissed me off. I can look past, like, you want to claim that she cheated on you, you want to, like, act like Lana's such a better fit, fine. But the
Yeah.
fact that, like, that I cannot look past. You couldn't even just tell her, hey, I heard through the grapevine she's okay, she's just traveling somewhere.
Right.
Why? Say something. Just give this girl some type of hope that her mom's, like, alive. Confirm that. You don't have to tell her that you know where she is. I mean, you should, but I mean, you let her think her mom was dead for 6 months. And like you said, she then joins the Guardians, does those crazy missions where she was not prepared, and no one, like, they still didn't tell her.
I don't. And they
He's such
kept
a scumbag.
questioning. I know, and everyone in the Guardians even kept questioning her as a person and could she be trusted because of who her mom was and who her dad was. And I go, oh my God, she literally went in and stole information that was just supposed to be a test, and she almost got herself killed in the process. You think that she would have, in the time that she was there, I mean, I know it was a short time, but would have given a little bit of trust to say, hey, your mom's alive, but we can't give you any more information. Boom, done. And then let her spiral and go crazy. That's cool, but at least she knows that she's alive. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, this was nail in the coffin for
Mm-hmm.
Henry. I was like, you and Lana, go live your life, go get married. No one cares. I hope either we don't ever see him again, or if we do, it is like him getting killed off.
I know, because even DM at that point basically is telling him, I hope you choose the right side for the right reasons and all of that. And Vance isn't this good person and this is all this stuff. And I mean, she goes in and explains everything, but I don't know if there's any redeeming of him fighting for the greater good in a sense. I just see him still wanting to be more on the Guardians only. So yeah, to your point, it's probably going to be him not being there or literally dying. And we just kind of, glance over and be like, R.I.P. Henry. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up in Vance's crew
yeah.
with Daddy O, like in the more extreme group of people. Henry just like those people that easily ends up in a cult or doing something, just easily brainwashed into one way of thinking. And then once he kind of finds like his group, he's just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And even if he starts to feel differently, he like feels like he can't get out. So honestly, I could see him falling into the more extreme group of guardians and then that
Yeah.
being his downfall, which I'm not mad about.
No, I'm not mad either. And like you said, he does become such a side character, really behind the scenes character at this point, because we only get a few interactions with him. And I think they're very intentional because at this point, too, I think Diem was making her way to Mortal City basically to claim that she's, the crown of everyone and will fight for every single person. It really makes her stance known. And I think not only does it make a point to Henry that I truly mean this, and this is my declaration to you all. I'm not just saying this in a hidden, alleyway with you and Lana, but the fact that everyone else sees it and says, okay, yeah, we actually believe you and we're going to follow you and everything. I think it just really is going to give him some interesting things to think over. And I guess we'll find out which side he ends up choosing at the end. So,
Let's see, but I'm fine if he doesn't have a redemption arc. I will say it was so sweet reading when she's like giving her big proclamation to the mortals, and then they all just kneel for her.
I did
I
not
really
expect
did
it.
not think that that was going to happen. I thought they were going to like throw tomatoes at her or something. So that was really nice. And I think she did a good job relating to them. I mean, she literally was one of them till 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I think she did a really good job like telling them her story from her voice, what's going on, what her plan is. And I think people like really resonated with what she had to say.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, the fact that there's such a powerful force, I mean, because there's obviously mortals in other realms as well, but the fact that she really went back to her roots and said, okay, you are the people that I grew up with. I am fighting for you as well, not just the people in this palace and, they're hidden away in their own little section. I'm fighting for both groups. So I feel like Lumnos, she kind of has under control, sort of. I mean, I know Remus kind of throws in some wrenches as well as a couple of the houses, but for the most part, I think she has most of that realm ready to go and totally
Yeah.
okay with what's going to happen.
Now she just has to work on the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. There was one part where I think DM is talking to tell her about her father's powers and everything. And I wanted to see if what you think about his powers after we kind of get to know him more. But she said, it gets stranger. When Descended attack me with their magic, it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. It's like I'm stealing their magic right out of them. It even helps me heal faster if I'm wounded. Mother, which I put in parentheses, orally, said your birth father had a rare condition. Maybe that wasn't a lie. If he could do this too, that would explain why she tried so hard to hide you. We get more of his power and more of interactions with him as we go, but we talked about this being a thing when she was at Umbros and the fact that she had that shield around and it was trying to attack Solarg's power. But I'm really curious how much of this actually is Daddy O's power or if it's just DM by herself. If it's just her power as she gets more and more.
I'm leaning more towards it's him, only because later, well, we read some of the diary entries of like they were nervous about the youngest brother or the youngest sibling. So I'm thinking maybe this was his power he could absorb, but hers might be even more heightened because of that. Plus she has the powers from everyone else. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards it's coming from him, but
Yeah.
maybe she just has like a more advanced version of it. And it could explain why it was referred to as the rare condition instead of just he's descended. Because
Yeah.
I think they would have just said that.
I think so too. I mean, why wouldn't you at that point? You know what I mean?
Like he just has descended powers from a different realm.
Yeah, it's a good point. I didn't even think of that because she knew that it was descended. It wasn't as if she didn't know at this point.
But we don't know if he gets hurt, can absorbing other people's powers make him heal faster? That could maybe be something from the Everflame. So I don't know. It could be a combination of like when the two have come together.
Yeah.
It's giving her these more heightened.
Yeah, I don't know. I do have a point on this at the end when she gets stabbed, so I don't want to go into it, but I have a theory and kind of some ideas around that at the end, but specifically from this section of like this power and how it can be used. I'm very curious on how it's going to go. The last piece in this, though, is what DM wants to go and save Orly from prison. So in an attempt to leave, Remus had Soray chained down. And we also know that Alex is the High General as well. So she kind of has to obey Remus because he is, I don't want to say the one with the power right now, but pretty much because DM isn't coordinated. So she does have to follow the rules and everything.
And DM tells her to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it would look suspicious if she wasn't. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're all against him. But what was interesting to me, and this, I think this is where I lean more towards you of Eamon's just an ass, is he ends up telling, you know, DM told Eamon about her plans to save her mother and whatnot. And he obviously just goes running right off to Remus and Garth, which is why Soray is ending up being chained down. I think this is at the point where she's able to destroy the Godstone because I think she was getting attacked or whatever and it broke into shards or whatever. But this is another instance where I go, okay, maybe I am wrong thinking that he has some good in him because he just keeps coming back and doing things like this.
I think this is a reaction to him getting called out by her in the previous part. And so now he's annoyed and he's like, oh, well, clearly there's no winning her over, so I'm just going to be my normal self. So I think this is his true color showing.
Yeah, I agree. I know we talked about Remus and not knowing his intentions, but he also literally goes to remind DM about his warning that he's not the enemy of them as they're fleeing to go to get Orly. So I couldn't figure out why he kept reminding, unless it's just that you have bigger enemies out there and you have bigger fish to fry. I'm literally just a guppy over here. Don't bother me. Don't worry about me. I'm not an issue.
Or is it keep your enemies close and like befriend them, so make her feel safe, like I'm not your enemy, don't worry, like I got this over here, and then he basically gets to do whatever he wants because she's not thinking about it, and he can find some type of loophole to get her out of the way so he can take it over.
I mean,
implement his own things underneath like her nose. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious of him. Again, I don't know how to read him.
Yeah. Super sus. In the next section, which is chapters 50 through 55, we basically have Diem and Luther making the trip to Fortos to get Orly out of prison. The part in Fortos is a lot of sections, so we split it out into a couple groups just because there's some stuff that goes down, but we have the trip basically as our first part here. And this is where Luther, I feel like, comes back to his normal self. He's healed. He starts his swooning all over again. He's hitting us with the poetry, but I truly feel like he is back to his normal self, which it should have been a sign, you know, in part 2 that something was crucially wrong. The fact that he literally is 0 to 100 real quick.
The fact that she, like, actually thought he could have been cheating on her.
I don't know. I literally, the poetry that he gives is unreal. I actually wrote in my notes, I go, men should take notes just from how women write male main characters and the poetry that they give. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm saying this all the time over here. I'm like, could read this book. Learn something.
Yeah.
It's self-help.
Yeah. Self-help.
Now, is he still above? Because you made a crazy claim at book 1 that he was probably above Xaden for you now.
Yeah.
Do you stand by that, or would you like to revise?
I feel like I'm in between, okay? And I'm going to give my full indecisive Meg vibes here because I can never make a decision. The reason why I still think he is above a little bit is just with how much he shows his devotion to her. And I don't know if a lot of it is just because that he's been told his whole life that he's going to be dealing with a gray-eyed queen and blah, blah, blah. And then, like, Luminos was paving the path for him. But I don't know. It's just like every time I read a section from him, all of my notes literally just say, damn, Luther, thank you. Yep, you did it again, thanks. Literally, you should see my phone notes are so bad because it's just every time. And I feel like with Xaden, I just like him because the Shadow Daddy vibes, and it gives off an attitude, and I just love it. So I like them for different reasons. So maybe I would say they're tied.
You're menage a trois with the two of them.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's just go there.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I'm there. And I probably will stay there unless we somehow find another MMC that we like more.
Luther is still number 2 for me. Xaden is still number 1.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
That hasn't changed for you.
But he does, I think, have more poetic words. Yeah. I think I like Xaden's actions a little more.
Fair point, yeah.
Mainly because we get action more consistently. And so maybe if Luther wanted to up that, we could have a conversation.
Yeah. Again, we say this every single book. I mean, maybe in book 4 there'll be so much action, but I highly doubt it.
No, there's so many wars they gotta fight.
No, I think this is probably the only action we're getting of this entire series is at the end of the book.
I mean, I will just say this. Poisoned by Godstone, and yet you couldn't touch her or go all the way. And spoiler alert for Ironflame, Onyx Storm. Spoiler alert if you have not read those. Xaden's literally transitioning to a Venom and still fucking her. So I'm sorry, a little poison?
You can get over it
together.
My whole self is changing.
Rub some dirt in it. And that's all I have to say.
Well said.
Like, he's literally losing his soul. And still.
Yeah. The chairs. All the chairs.
Literally enjoys it so much, he drains again.
Yeah.
And this one's like, I have poison in my veins. Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
I have to wait till I'm 100%. I have to set the mood. Xaden and Violet would fuck on the back of a dragon.
Yeah, actually, they're pretty ballsy.
I'm shocked that hasn't happened, but like the dragons have too much personality now, I can't. But
yeah.
Okay, spoiler alert over.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, I think Aetron would be okay with the fucking on the back of his back. I don't know, maybe that's just the vibe I have.
Probably. It probably happens.
Yep.
With
JBL
the
speakers.
JBL. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Goodness.
We're fucking clipping that. I'm just saying that right now. That was so good.
I can't. No excuse. Literally no excuse.
Oh my god.
I caught you off guard. I don't think you thought that's where I was going.
Nope. Not at all. Besides Luther swooning and everything, once we actually make it to Fortos, the Fortos King is obviously interested in why Diem is there. And we get some information. Now, Fortos has I'm calling it death magic, so apologies, that's not like actually what it's called, but they can kind of have it where it hurts you in a way, and it kind of, I don't want to say kills you from within, but pretty much kind of gives you a disease and stuff. Fortos King pretty much just like makes it known that he has this power, and like every other realm that we have touched in, Diem is also able to use this power. So she ends up using it on him, which I thought was really cool, because just pretty much just showing, I'm a badass. I don't care about you. We're going to use the power against you, because it seems like no one else does. Obviously, he's the king. No one's really going to try that. Mm-hmm. But what I thought was pretty interesting is I don't know if it's just Fortos' way, or if it was just because of the king's upbringing, but his name was Child 159330. And I go, do they literally just not name these kids and just have numbers and that's it? Because they're all built up to basically soldiers if you're a boy.
Yeah, so a few things that I need to dissect here. One, it reminded me of Lilo and Stitch. Because, they're just, experiment numbers. That's all I thought of. When he gave his number.
Oh my god, I'm Child 159330.
Yeah, that's instantly what I thought of. Two, I think they just don't name them, like you said. Especially, they probably maybe give the girls names, but the men, they're like, you're going to the army anyways, and they probably just don't really get emotionally attached to them, because they're like, the likelihood of you living very long is probably slim, which is terrible. And then my third thing that I would really like to highlight is this king is a misogynistic prick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And it's so infuriating when you're reading something and you're like, ugh. I wanted to jump in and just backhand him.
A few times.
When he was just like, women will never be allowed in the army. Women are weak. Women can't do this. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my god. What? And so I love everything that happens to him in this section, as we will get into it. Poetic justice.
Yeah, agreed. It's at some point when she ends up using the magic on him to basically hurt him, but pretty much also low-key says, I'm also a healer, and healers are badasses as well. Women are not weak because they're the ones healing all of you. Every time you keep getting injured, they're the ones saving your ass constantly.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
value.
She said women were only good enough to be healers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As if it was some weird thing, which I love how each of the realms has a different vibe and what happens, but this one really bothers me. And also the fact that we've said that pretty much it's only men that go in, in the army and stuff. But same thing when it comes down to the crown. It's only been a king. It's never been a queen. Such foreshadowing for literally what happens in a couple of chapters. But I thought that was pretty interesting to realize that they just said, oh no, we've never had a queen. And yeah. Well done.
And basically, they would never bow down to a woman. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, it so disgusting. And I know obviously part of my response is probably just being a woman, but just in general, the fact that you can't see equality there is just so frustrating. So
so annoying.
It made it so much better for the ending of this.
How would he if we were just walking around being like, ugh. Men are so useless. Men can't do anything. Making them just feel less than every single day.
Yeah. Oh, you're just in the army. You're not good enough to be a healer. You know what I mean?
Just the army.
Yeah. Sorry.
Small potatoes. For healers.
Yeah.
They would not last a day. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah. I don't like him. And another thing I didn't like is he drugs all of the prisoners that are descended with flame root. And this just
Mm-hmm.
brings back a point. You know how when he was saying that he would know if someone was on Coriel with, he would find out immediately? Obviously, we know that Orly's been hiding there and kind of sneaks in and all that jazz, but I think he has been also harvesting a crap ton of the flame root there specifically for his prison.
Yep, that makes sense. I didn't connect the two, but yeah, that's 100% why. Also, I just think it's ironic. For the realm that's so strong, you have the army, you're the strongest man in what he probably thinks is the strongest realm because it has all the weapons, it has the army.
Yeah.
You have to drug the people that you have imprisoned to weaken them because you're that nervous of them.
Mm-hmm.
If you're so strong, you should be able to handle them at their full strength with their powers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I found that funny.
Yeah, and then on top of
In
it,
order to imprison and keep these people, he has to be drugging them to the point
yeah.
where, like, some of them were literally barely being kept alive. They were like, oh, we keep them alive enough just to give them the
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
it
like,
was bad.
you're not tough. Like, yeah, oh, we have the prisons. Okay, these people couldn't do anything.
No. No, he had what the guy's name was Ines, and he had literally broken so many of his bones. I understand that they were doing torture and everything, but you literally have most of your prisoners not capable of doing anything back at you because you were
Yeah,
afraid.
even if they had their magic, I mean, it would heal them of those broken bones. But some of them, I think, even later, once they did get it, or once she like helped them, the way that the bones had been broken, it's like even if they healed them, they still wouldn't be able to walk because the bones would have healed the wrong
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Uh, I don't like him. He got what he deserved, and I know I'm jumping ahead in that statement,
Yes.
but truly got what he's deserved, plain and simple. Another note about this prison is both Diem and Luther lose their magic within the prison. And I believe it was because it's the Godstone walls pretty much just kind of also negate everything. So on top of them not having their powers, you're also drugging everyone else with flame root. Like, I was just thinking
Yeah.
about that. Double whammy.
Double homicide.
Yeah.
But doesn't she end up getting her powers back?
Yeah, so I don't understand if it's
Which is
because
why
she
I'm
broke
thinking
the Godstone to your
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah. So either it was because she broke it, or maybe she doesn't realize she's immune to the effects of Godstone, and so
Can
it
she
can't.
use it? Like, can she use Godstone into her powers?
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
It could be another one of those things where like, what was the potion? And then we read it back, we're like, oh no, her blood was mixed. It was like happened to be on
Yeah.
her hand when she put it. Like, oh, the wall broke, so it's that. And it's like, no, she actually
Yeah.
can make it, destroy it, embrace it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think part of it probably is she had her magic, but she feels as if a piece of it maybe is gone missing because she does end up getting the Fortos magic from being there. So I wonder if everything else disappeared, but that specifically, I don't know. Her godhood is pretty weird to learn too, so it's kind of all over the place.
And we still don't have really any answers about it at this
Yeah.
point. Penn has a lot to wrap up the book for.
I'm afraid.
That pen is working.
That pen is working. Oh my god. I just got on.
I'm done. I'm done. That's all I'm doing tonight.
I'm literally sweating right now. Oh my
I know,
god.
we're in these like big
I know.
sweaties. We're in these big
Sweaty.
sweaties.
We're in the big sweaties.
Blanket hoodies.
No. I'm not taking it off though. I feel quite cozy, so
Yeah.
just deal with the heat. Whew.
The biggest piece for me in this whole section was just how much I hate Orly.
I knew you were gonna say that.
First of all, if I was DM and it was threatened, like, oh, if you go get your mom and bring her back, you're going to cause, like, a rift with the houses. At this point, I would not risk a war to save your mother. I get she's your mother, but she literally lied to you your entire life about what you were. poisoned you every single day and then like left you to handle it all. Wouldn't do it. That's how I was feeling going into the section. And then when we get there, and she's basically like trying to tell Diem to not be with Luther because of what he is, I lost it. I was like, oh, because he's descended?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the exact same thing as your daughter? So he's scum because he's descended. So then by that rationale, wouldn't you think your own daughter's scum? I hate this woman.
Yeah, she just dug her grave, in my opinion, for how she is as a person. Because to your point, you're saying you dislike someone, but your daughter is literally the same exact thing. I think at this point, too, I think Orly even knows that he's also half mortal, I believe. Or maybe she learns it
Yeah.
later
I
on.
think no, I think she knew like that's what he was helping because she was they think they talk about like their relationship and she had
Yeah.
helped him move some of them. They're literally the exact same
Mm-hmm.
thing. But because she's your daughter, you think differently. Like I could understand that, but like, at the same point, no.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
I literally just wrote in my notes, hypocritical bitch.
Yeah.
I could not stand her.
No.
And all she cared about was getting herself out. She didn't care with like what Diem was risking to get her out. Diem wants to like save the other prisoner. She is only focused on herself. Could care less about.
Yeah.
And I really do not like her. She
No.
becomes more selfish every interaction. I feel like.
She really does. And even a farther interaction that happens in this section too, or I think in the next section, she's even more selfish about really when she is against Luther and Diem even being remotely close to each other and everything. And it's just, I, like you said, I can understand it being your parent. You obviously want to save them, all of that stuff. But there's a lot of other people who are suffering in this prison too. You think that you would have found some camaraderie with this group and realized that you're all innocent. Like, Ines literally was in prison for rescuing mortals. Wouldn't you want to save someone who also is trying to save your kind? As weird as that sounds, I mean, come on. What are you going to do? Just, sorry.
She only cares about herself, what she wants to accomplish, her goals. I think to a point she cares about Diem, but then like there's other things though that are more important to her than like her
Yeah.
daughter's well-being. And I don't like that.
No.
At the root of it, you literally lied to her about what she was. If she never became the crown, whatever, she never would have lived up to her full potential because you were watering her down essentially, dimming her light, and literally poisoning her in, I think it was in the end of Glow, when Luther finds out that she's been getting flame root every day. He's like, what? And
Yeah.
it seems like clearly from the people in the prison, like getting flame root every day is just killing you over time.
Yeah, and I don't know what you were expecting that your daughter
To
would
like what,
end up.
hide your secret? I'm
Yeah.
so confused.
Yeah. I And then what are you putting your kid into a situation like that? If it does slowly drain her, are you basically creating it where she would have died early? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I know descendant have long
Yeah, she
lives,
would probably
but
just have like a normal mortal life. But like
right.
doing that to one kid, but then the other kid is allowed to go to the descendant school, be friends with all them, learn from them.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
No. I don't understand it. I mean, we do learn that I think she even had Teller there specifically to try and get more information. And also she was able to go to
Yeah.
the palace and everything, but all of it was for her. None of it was for her
Yeah, no,
kids. I mean, Teller's a brilliant kid, and I don't think you just threw him in there because of his genius. No, you
no,
did it for
it was just
yourself.
the angle for herself. Yeah.
Yeah. This
I
is
just, I
where,
don't like her, and I really think she could be DM's downfall too.
yeah,
Of she's eventually gonna have to choose, like, are you with your mom or are you like on this other path? And she's gonna have to come to that decision.
I
And I
know.
hope she like recognizes, like, yes, you're my mom, and I can have love for you as my mom, but like, you're also a selfish, hypocritical bitch.
Yeah, exactly. This is where I really wish that her father, not her birth father, but Andre was still alive because he would have such a different perspective on the whole situation. And we just, as much as his death was probably well timed in the sense of for Diem to really grow in her spot, but man, I feel like we could have had an interesting perspective just understanding what's going on as well. And there's definitely obviously 5 billion different sides to a story, but part of me at this point was just, oh, I wish we got his point of view too, because he didn't know that she was doing this to DM at all. And I feel like it would have been more understanding from his side to see what was going on. So I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe it would have forced Orly to kind of hold a mirror up to herself and be like, what type of person am I?
Right.
I just don't think she has self-awareness, honestly. But like this scene with like, DM has risked everything. Her crown, even though she's not fully coordinated, but like her crown. Literally causing enemies within her own realm for herself. Starting trouble with the Fortos King and that whole realm, like literally broke into the prison.
Yeah.
That no one's supposed to be able to get in and out of. Just to come rescue you, and you're sitting here being a brat about who she brought with her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
I can't.
like, be grateful. I don't know.
It's not that difficult.
Nope. Not at all.
Yeah. I really just did not like her.
Yeah. One other piece that was pretty important that at first glance I didn't really think about it too much, but after the conversation with Orly, DM's ending up, she's able to destroy the Godstone cell, and she gets a sign from the gods for guidance on what was and what shall be, but she's not fully ready to see it just yet. And this is another instance of powers that be sprinkling a little bit of information here and there, but not giving the full picture because they can't give you everything. They just have to give you breadcrumbs. Do you have any idea what you think this could be?
No, I have no clue. And honestly, if I was her, I'd be so frustrated. Like, could someone just like stop talking to me in riddles?
Right.
Just give me a piece. One little piece.
I just can't tell if it's because she's not ready to see it, that she's going to have all the realms fully and become the crown of all of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many ways I guess it could go. I just don't know enough to figure out what it means.
Yeah, she must be so irritated with the breadcrumbs because it's just like, even the weird prophecy type thing that the previous Lumnos king said to her when he died. I'd be like, what does all this mean? Could one person just be like, hey DM, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing great, sweetie. Keep going.
Exactly.
One person.
Yeah.
And even like, your cell, we're gonna tell you all this stuff. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Didn't get that information.
It's completely confusing to me. So I don't know. That was a part that was interesting too, because also we get into the huge fight with the Fortos King. I say we as if I was there. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm reading my book. I guess I'm part of the
Emotionally,
club.
we were there.
Yeah.
We were there.
Mostly,
We're the
kicking
brick.
air. Yeah. You're doing great. We're really just Kris Jenner here the whole time.
You're doing great, sweetie. Keep going.
Sweetie. So they get into the battle and they're going back at it and everything. And wasn't this at this point that he kind of tries to say, okay, I'm not going to attack you, and then ends up going for it. And she has to basically say, okay, it's you or me, and I'm going to kill you. Okay. That's what I thought happened. I couldn't remember if I was messing up with a different realm, but okay.
Yep.
That's what I figured.
That's
yeah.
this one.
Okay, yeah. And when she ends up striking him, he basically channels the kindred of this realm, and the voice takes over. So again, it seems to be the case that whenever a crown has been dying around her, the fucking kindred just come down and go, we're just going to speak through this body and then going to go back up and chill.
When you hear the kindred's voice, be prepared for a death to follow.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck.
Around her.
Yeah. Like, oh God, it's like fucking lightning or something. Like, oh, death's happening. Yeah.
Yep, because it happened with the Lumnos King.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought about, was just, this is so familiar that we're getting this. And the kindred for Fortos even says, all right, this has never been done before, but I guess we're going to have to, and then chooses a queen for the first time, which, like I said earlier, the foreshadowing was unreal. But the fact that they went forward and did this, I feel like such a powerful move, because there could have been another powerful person in Fortos that could have taken over as king. But I really feel like this is a way that the kindred is trying to give them a fighting chance without fully stepping in, per se.
Yeah. I also love that she doesn't tell anyone that she's the queen. Because then all the guards come running in and they're like, you killed the king. our new king is going to come after you. And she's just like laughing because she's like, okay, I'm in charge of all you people now.
Yeah.
But doesn't tell any of them. So like, we're gonna come arrest you. And like, they start following her. They pop back up in another realm. And I thought that was brilliant by her because she essentially says like, I don't have time to deal with this and deal with them and like being a leader to them. Like, I'm just not telling them. And she tells no one until later when she shows up to do her coronation.
I loved it. It was very much I got another one added to my list. You can see my crown is completely changed now.
Yeah, but this is the first one that this is like the first time she gets an additional one. So like, they were like,
Yeah.
wait, you're the leader of two places? This is crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was fitting for that to be the second one, like taking down the misogynistic prick.
Yeah.
Misogynistic land, you know?
I agree.
But no, I absolutely love that when they were like, our new king is going to come after you. And she's like, let him.
Yeah.
It's me, bitch.
Yeah.
I'll have a talkie with myself.
Yeah, right? Oh, you're going to get him? No, I'm not. Okay, good. Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I thought so too. And it's also how they were brought up. Their entire group has literally always been, it's a king and that's it. And just, it's poetic that she's going to be the queen and they have to deal with it because they literally are going to figure it out at some point.
Yeah. And then it was at this point in the book when she got that second land, I was like, okay, yep, we're on the path where she's going to be the leader of all of them. And now it starts to kind of pick up more speed. She just starts to collect them like Pokemon. But this is when it really hit me, like, okay, that random throwaway comment we made, it's actually happening.
And to your point, she still is able to get everyone out of the prison and then basically just goes into a full-blown fight on the battlefield with the guards because obviously they see her as being a traitor and a person who shouldn't even be here and all of that stuff. But it was just really interesting because she kind of just went full-blown batshit crazy and she ended up forcing one of the generals to kill himself, which we talked about her godhood doing the destroy and everything, but I feel like this was a whole new level, and I don't know if this was... Actually, I have no idea.
Crossing some lines that she won't be able to come back from, but...
Right, exactly. I don't know, was this just because she was so pissed off that her godhood just, like, sank with the annoyance there, or just...
Yeah, honestly... just playing this together now, but it probably was foreshadowing when she was in the market, like controlling the flames just by her emotion.
Yeah.
And here, her emotions out of control, her actions start being out of control. I just picture like a kid getting their training wheels off. You know, you're gonna fall a few times, you're gonna scrape your knee, you're gonna go, you know, a little too fast down a hill.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good. Like, you know, she's learning how to control and she's basically gaining these powers for the first time and then also having to put them into practice within like feels like 5 minutes of her actually like she like crosses, you've unlocked a new power, and then 4 minutes later she's in a battle and she's like, well, that's the only magic that works, I just need to like figure it out, and she hasn't had time to play with it yet.
No, there's been barely a learning
there's been no
curve.
training.
No.
She's like, I don't even know how to use the magic from my own realm.
Yeah.
Like, she still has yet to use shadows and light.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even there. It's...
And so, I mean, now you give her death magic?
Yeah.
She's like, well, okay, I need to use this. Like, I don't know the very... On? She's like, 0 to 100. Like, she doesn't know what the commands are to keep it...
Yeah, right?
Tame.
Kill. No, don't kill.
Just like a little poison, not like...
Yeah. Yeah,
crushed.
not enough, but, you know, a drop or something.
So we have to give her a pass on that. This is her first time working with this magic, okay? Yeah. She's new here. She's new.
Exactly.
She doesn't know.
No.
It would have been so awkward, though. Imagine. I mean, can't, 'cause she's the main character, but, like, just imagine in that scene they killed her. And then all of a sudden, like, the crown goes to just someone else just, like, starts getting the crown. They're like, oh, shit. She was the crown.
Right? Oh, my God. Crazy.
That was wild, though. Like, I wasn't expecting that guy to actually himself.
Didn't either.
So that was wild.
Yeah. That was, I was here for it. That really sounds twisted, me saying that out loud, but...
She's becoming a little morally gray. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We like morally gray. It's a nice area to be. Okay. So the next section is chapters 56 to 63, and this is after rescuing Orly. The trio basically attempts to land at Lunos Palace. However, Remus is not going to allow that, and they are forced to travel to Matios. So a little bit of information there, obviously, as they attempt to land. And when they're trying to land, Soray is shot with Godstone, which was super sad because I was really hoping that she wouldn't end up injured in any chance, whatever. But Alex did try to warn them that something was happening, but Diem's kind of just all up in her mind, which seems to happen constantly. But another part too that I was really sad about here was Teller looked so excited to see his mom, and then, just kidding, we can't land, we have to go.
Ripped.
This poor kid.
I feel for him. Honestly, what he ends up doing later in the book makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done with all you.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go. Nice knowing you.
Yeah,
Teller
like,
out.
Clearly don't care that I'm here.
I'm done.
They're like, anyone want to be a research study and experiment? I volunteer. No one cares about
I
me.
volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, he's like, whatever. No one cares.
Katniss. When we get into Matios, did you suspect that she was queen immediately from the little bit of sensing that her godhood pretty much has?
No, I was caught off guard. I had the theory of, she's probably going to be the queen of all the realms, but I was very concerned when she landed, and I was like, is she being taken hostage by these people?
Yeah.
I was worried, and then I was so honestly, until the words came, like, you are the new, I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I thought she was about to be a prisoner of this realm.
Okay, so I have two comments.
Did you pick up on it?
I don't know what I'm picking up on. So we find out, I know, I'm gonna go fucking weird here. So two things that happen when they end up flying over into Matios, her godhood kind of senses something, and she feels something along the lines. So I first said, okay, it's Matios for sure, that this is what, that she's going to be the next crown, because the old guy probably didn't make it through the explosion at Coriel. The second part that came not immediately, but once we go farther into the section, when she is greeted by, the gray-eyed man, Daddy-O, I couldn't figure out if she was getting those powers as well, because she was in the realm-ish area, but she didn't step foot into it yet, so I don't know if that's just me stretching a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because she technically hasn't walked over there yet.
No, she doesn't until a while later. So I think it's probably more leaning Matios.
Does she already have his powers because she's from his loins,
Right. It's from his loins.
Such an engaged audience tonight. I love it.
You would think it's like 2 a.m. and I haven't slept in days. How slap happy I feel right now.
I'm gonna have a big ego when I get off this call.
Oh, man. Yeah, just call me anytime. You got it.
I did not pick up on any of it. I also had forgotten that, way at the beginning of the book, she was told that, one of the crowns didn't make it, but never got a name. So I didn't even realize, this guy was dead.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out if it was one of the ones that we haven't been to, like Maros or something like that. But he just seemed too close, specifically because he also had said, daughter forgotten, good luck and whatnot. I feel like he sensed his death and just said, okay, this is going to happen today. I'm done.
He accepted it.
Yeah, just good luck. Figure it out.
He's like, it has to be the old one, I know.
Yeah, because he's also one of the oldest ones, him and Umbros, which they're the two that sensed very early on what was going to go on. So, yeah, I don't know.
They were there for what happened to Daddy-O.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what that little stirring of her godhood was, but I think it's probably more Matios after thinking about it now. Yep. But to your point, they basically, the commanders in Matios, end up saving them because Forto's
Yeah.
commanders are there. It's like a whole cluster in this section.
At first, yeah, when they like pop out of that cave, I was like, oh no, they're gonna take her hostage. And then they start defending her. So it's like, oh, this is like a safe haven for these
Yeah.
people. This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, the Forto's army followed her like across the map.
Yeah.
Like, we are coming, we are arresting you for treason or whatever the thing was that they wanted to get her for. Because also the crowns at the same time were also petitioning for some like her to be captured
Yeah, exactly.
because they think she's involved with what happened at the island, even though she's not. So she's like has it coming from like multiple different directions. And then when they tried to like rescue her almost, then I was like, what is going on? I was so confused. And then when they went to the, I don't know if this is jumping ahead in your stuff, but like when they went to the Gryvern area, I was, what? I'm, I was so just caught off guard.
Yeah. No, there
I
was
was
a
like, I'm here for the
lot.
ride. I
Hmm.
don't know what's going on.
Yeah, no, literally all of my notes were pretty much just I don't know where we're going. And I don't know what disaster's going to happen, but I guess we'll see because something's going to happen here. It has to. I mean, every single other area has had something go on. So something has to happen. But I also didn't expect them to have a council. Just saying this right now. Every other section
Oh
pretty much
yeah,
just has their person and then a couple people they talk to. But this sounded like a whole fucking group that,
yeah, like they rule by committee almost,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of just the
which
crowns
I
there.
which I like, but then it
Yeah,
doesn't seem. I don't know how it's gonna work with her. You know, she's in charge of everywhere. She can't be there all the time
right. I don't know who her
for
council
their council
becomes.
meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Yeah, it was interesting too because don't they also say that Daddy O is pretty much on a warpath and they're afraid they're gonna be next because this is when we find out that Umbros had gotten attacked 3 days ago, which would have been her
Mhm.
last day there. So they're all fearful that this is gonna happen to them, which I don't even think they realize that he literally is just in the realm next to them,
Literally right next to them.
literally right next to them.
Also at this point, like the mom, Orly hasn't left them. She went to go to one of the Guardian outposts.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So she like bounced, thank God. Bye bye. Get out of here. And then when they're filling DM in about the Umbros thing, that's when she finds out that everything he's defeating, like he's burning in this like 10-point star mark on everything. So like the people, like the buildings, like it's on everything. So he's like wants it to be known that this is him.
Yeah. Very much marking his spot of I've been here. Watch out. I'm coming for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is also where she gets that crazy prophecy, and I think the King of Montios had written her something.
Yeah.
Like he like knew he like left her like his next heir like a message or whatever. And this is like the only part of it that like I wanted to call out. This is the thing I was looking for before.
Yeah.
Where it says 11 must fall for one to rise. Do you have theories on what you think the 11 is? Because I have two.
Okay. I because the second I have the quote up because the second section after that specifically says share the gift to pay the cost. I don't know if it's going to be all 10 of the crowns should fall, but also her, and then someone else will figure it out. But it also says, I literally have the whole quote, so I'm sorry, I'm going to jump ahead before I let you go.
That's
A
fine.
dying star will rekindle the spark. What is forgotten is not lost. So this is where I went into the crazy situation of her being from the Everflame, but also does she die but then come back? Do you know what I mean? Like, is she fucking Phoenix or shit? You know, arising from the ashes? Is she 11 fall for herself to rise as the top person of the area? Yeah, I went down a rabbit hole. A rabbit hole. So I don't know. What did you have? Because I could go on for
So
days.
at first I was like, oh, is this location? The 10 realms have to fall, plus the island, which the island has already fallen technically because of the bomb and the Guardians took it over. So like the mortals were running that realm
Damn, did
or
not
that
think of that.
area. Because it's kind of its own thing. It's not really part of a realm. Or then I was like, I don't know if it's going to be like that. simple that kind of felt to me. If it meant that all 10 leaders, because they are starting to all fall, plus DM, because technically, and that I would be counting the Lumnos King as the area for Lumnos, because that's how she got it. And then that so, she's going to work her way through all 10, where then eventually she'll be the one of the 10, which means she'd have to defeat her dad.
Right.
And then she has to fall and then share the gift to pay the price. I think that is when Luther will get whatever.
Yeah, because I know we said we weren't going to talk about the first couple chapters of the next book, but can I jump in there just from a piece? So I think this goes a little bit into the mating situation too, because in the beginning couple chapters of the fourth book, he says that his godhood basically is like, find her, save her, and it sounds as if it's screaming to her. Wouldn't shock me if it has some of the powers from her, because she technically fell, but does it mean that,
good point,
is she allowed to, or, to your point earlier, can she not die from it? Did she fall, but did she,
rise from the ashes?
Yeah, I'm really going with this Phoenix vibe. I don't know.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just like something to keep in mind. But like there are 10 realms.
Yeah.
I'm saying 11 have to fall. So
but
like,
you know
what is that additional piece?
I think it's pretty cool though about the actual realms and the island, because that is 11 and it wouldn't be people. Because my whole mind has been people, but the area itself, because they also call her the destroyer of realms.
Good point.
It could be the 11.
So maybe that just means breaking the barriers between.
Yeah. Which are slowly breaking anyways, with the fact that.
All be one area that like people can freely move about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something that I think is definitely going to come into play in the next book.
Again, another thing that needs to be covered.
Yeah.
Oof. All right. I like it.
And then I will just like to point out that in this section, we get like confirmation that the Grey Eye Man in her visions is her dad, who's this 10th realm, blah, blah, blah. And I would like to just say, while I enjoy the twists, they are so predictable. We literally, in our book 1 deep dive at the end, we're like, probably it's her dad.
Yeah.
I'm not like trying to bash on the writing at all, because every time they come up, I like the direction that the book is going in, so I'm happy with where the plot and the storyline went. But I'm just like, oh, okay, so I was right about that. Like, I'm not caught off guard by anything. So, I don't know. Sometimes I like being a little caught off guard. At least here, I'm like, okay. At least it's, like, going in a direction that, like, I like, I'm good with. But I have noticed that, like, a lot of the big twists.
Yeah.
You could guess really early on.
I was going to say, a lot of our theories, questions, have pretty much either came true or were only a little bit off, because maybe it was something we missed or just we went in a different direction. It wasn't the variety that you could have of, think about those random one sentence that happened, it has to mean this. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Yeah. It's just interesting because, like, the two bigger twists, I think, like, we literally guess at the end of book 1 about her mom and about her dad.
Yeah. I would even say Umbros too, we picked up pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, you picked up on that. Yeah.
Yeah. To your point, though, I love how even though they are supposed to be shocks, and maybe if someone just reading pretty quickly didn't pay attention to it, and that's fine, but I still loved them. I thought they were also really well placed. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Because where they come up is really valuable for what's going to happen next. So it wasn't as if it's just here's a shocking thing that happens and then we don't mention it ever again. It's
the pacing's really good. Yeah, I agree.
Love the pacing. So for me, I'm all for it, but this was
and
given a huge boost to my ego.
Yeah, and it's like, I think the pacing honestly is what plays into it, which is why, like, to me, I'm totally fine with it being more predictable. There are some books where I'm like, oh, I saw that ending coming from a mile away. Yeah. Where, like, I still have no clue what the ending of this book's gonna look like, but, like, some of these bigger, but, like, who knows, by the time we finish the series, we might be like, okay, those really weren't even the big things.
Right.
But I do appreciate that it's not, like, something completely out of left field where you're like, okay, I never would have gotten there, so I'm happy with it. I just wanted to point out, though, that, like, we did call it was her dad in book 1.
Yeah. I also wanted to point to, when we find out that we definitely know that it's her dad and everything, we obviously get confirmation too that he had believed that Diem's blood could be poured on the rock and break the curse. What is wild to me is that that's why he was basically going to try and kill Diem, and that orally, killed him and fled. He thought this way back. And then it actually comes true, and then he's, breaks free out of the prison and everything. But what was wild to me is, why does he think that's the case? That her blood specifically. Because if it was his own blood, he could literally just cut his arm and pour it on the rock. But why is it her specifically?
Great point. I have no clue. Like, did Orally tell him something about her past? It has to do something with her.
I really think it's the Everflame. It has to be.
Or, yeah, it could be him knowing, like, oh, she was just born on the soil of the Everflame, so now.
Right. Like, could she be sacred of some, whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We have to find out. That might be one of my big pieces, too. I feel like I say this in every single episode, but he better explain why he thought her specifically, or just gets found out through other information, because that can't just be a throwaway thing. And I say that every time. I feel like we should just quote me saying that every fucking episode. That can't be a throwaway. That can't be a throwaway, but...
Most of them haven't been, though.
I know. I hope it isn't.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on the blood thing, but that is a good point.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be something coming either from Orally or the location.
Yeah. Bizarre, but I guess we'll see if we get info on it.
Or maybe he just knows, like, if he is a kindred, like, my descended would be immune to this or something.
Yeah.
Or the cure to this, or...
Right. And I mean, would he have been able to find Godstone with him being chained up? I don't know. And she was a baby, so she's able to basically still get injured. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, descended when they're children.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
They can get hurt, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. Add it to the list of things we need for book 4.
Yep, exactly. We're going to have to start making an actual list of what we need.
Yeah.
So the next section is chapter 64 to 68, and this is when the group is traveling to Sophos to get away from Daddy O, or we find out his name is Ofake, I think is what we were trying to say. But that does not end up being a long-lasting thing, because he ends up literally coming right for them. So he's just pretty much following them as they go, which I have to make a note. We don't know if he attacked Matios at this point, right? He didn't end up attacking them while she was, or right after she left.
Not while she was there.
No, so he literally just was huddled in his own little realm, but then didn't attack Matios. That's the only section he hasn't attacked. That she had been in the immediate moment.
And also remember, though, she was like, oh, I have these powers. I can probably use the plants to spy on him or whatever.
Yeah.
And when she went in, like, he could interact with her through the plant. Like, that was weird.
I still don't understand that.
Well, because he has the power, too.
Yeah.
So he's like, we'll just plant talk.
Just plant talk to each other. So when we get to Sophos, this section we get a lot, which I think is why we broke it into 2 pieces, because we have this and then another part in Sophos. But we learned that Arbros Queen is in cahoots with the Guardians because she is also a half-mortal, which I found pretty interesting that they allowed a half-mortal to be a crown before Diem.
Yeah, I was shocked. And that no one knew. Like, why did no one tell Diem?
Right.
So maybe it's under wraps.
Yeah. Trying to figure that out, too. Because Sophos seems to have information that...
Yeah, let me just point out, when we got to Sophos, I was excited. I was like, this seems like a wonderful place.
Yep.
No.
Nope.
Nefarious.
Yeah.
Very nefarious.
I don't like it.
Right up there with their leader. I don't like it. I do not like it. The nerds were mean.
I was really hoping to be in my element, okay, with the nerds, the books. People. Why was I let down?
Evil.
Ugh.
Evil.
It was terrible.
They weaponized their intelligence.
Yeah, they did, and I didn't like it.
Me either.
Did not like it.
No.
I was very upset. one of the first parts that we get in here, and this is where all of my crazy thoughts go with the Everflame, is in the ruins in Sophos. DM says, I spotted a collapsed fresco of a man leaning against a tree and crouched beside it for a closer look. Though the details had faded with time, the paint of his hair was still a vibrant, fiery red. With that hair, he must be related to your mother, Luther joked. Sorry, I did not give a good pause in between that it was DM and Luther. But can we just talk about the fact that it literally brings back every time to the fiery red hair?
Yeah, I missed all of these references. I still think you're onto something.
What the fuck? I swear to God, if this has not become true, I might rage.
Yeah.
I was led wrong. If this is the...
To prep for book 4, you should look if anyone else has red hair.
All right.
Any other character.
I'll do a research because...
Okay, get to work, Sophos.
Yeah. I don't like that. Oh my God. We had mentioned it already, but we find out that Teller is also in Sophos. So, the siblings are reunited, but not really thrilled because he accepted the position here to study. Basically because Remus decided to tell him that he should leave and let Lily move on to someone she could spend her life with. I hate Remus even more for it, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but this also was Teller's dream to go to Sophos.
Yeah.
DM was all on board until Henry told her that, no, the mortals actually die in Sophos. So then she didn't want him to go, and I think Remus maybe knew that, and that's why he encouraged this.
I know. And then again, okay, let me take that into consideration. This is where I think Remus also confuses me, because if we use it from that lens, was he also trying to give Teller as much information as possible because they know that he is so smart that keeping him chained up in a palace pretty much,
Wow. You are really just trying to find the good in all these people.
I know.
You're like, no, he had a good motive, I know. And I'm like, he's terrible. I'm like, no, he had bad intentions.
I don't know what it is. Normally,
but this is so reverse for our person.
I know. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what happened. It's like Freaky Friday shit. I don't know.
I hope it does come out that he's nice and you can have that celebration in book 4.
If not, I'll take it.
I will eat my words.
I will do it if that's the case. We need to start placing weird bets on this.
But I don't know. I just feel like he was trying to have a coup and take DM's spot.
Yeah. No, you're probably right.
And he knew hitting her with Teller would hurt the most.
Yeah. Did he know she was going to be there? Ooh.
He probably figured she was making her way around.
Yeah.
Or if she came back and then they're like, oh, he went there.
True.
I would like to just point out, though, that, again, we called it. Of course, Henry and the Guardians were incorrect with what actually goes down in Sophos. We mentioned that when Henry had brought it up. We're like, okay, he's probably fed some, propaganda stuff that, to, drive this mission of the Guardians forward. They're so terrible without any of them actually having been there and know what's going on. When the whole time it's no, these people go there. They have to sell their home realm that they died just more as a way to protect themselves, but then they make a shit ton of money in Sophos. They send it all back to their families and their realms so that their families can live better lives. It's more of a thing of honor to go there and do that for your family. And then it turns out the whole research and experiment thing, no one is forced to do it. It is fully on a volunteer basis and they know exactly what they're signing up for.
Yeah. That was probably one of the only thing I was okay with in this whole area was the fact that we find out that they weren't these terrible monsters in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to what the Guardians were saying.
Yeah. No, I agree. I was of course. I'm glad that we picked up on that. Because I was there's no way.
It was too quick of a comment.
Yeah. And it just, I think, further proves that, Henry just takes things at face value, doesn't, look into any claims.
No. And I don't even know if there's any Guardians in this area either. Because if there were, they would have information. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you've never been there. How do you know what's happening for sure? But good point bringing that out, because that was a point that was just, ridiculous. So, this area is known for their knowledge, and Doriel ends up confirming that there is a forgotten realm. And it is the area, basically the evil land that pretty much is in between Montios, and that is actually officially a 10th realm that they basically removed from the sketches and maps and everything, and basically just got rid of all history for it, which they went in a lot of ways to get rid of the fact that they didn't want this thing to be known.
Yeah, and just the people, the keepers of the information, rewriting the information. Again, just if you've read the Empyrean series, it's like the theme of that book of like, it just takes one generation to rewrite it, and we're witnessing it in this book.
Yeah, I thought that was very good. I liked how it, I know they're not meant to jump over from literally from series to series, but I really liked how that was done here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also interesting because I don't know if there were any other people from this realm or if it literally was just the Kindred. Like, it didn't seem like there were any descended in that area because he didn't have any children.
It didn't seem like it. It seemed like, honestly, he only had like the Guardians kind of hanging out with him over there.
Yeah. So
I don't even know if he has people, what happened to them. I mean, he was, we find out, you know, gone for a long time.
yeah. Part of me think there were no descended there.
But it's just crazy. Like, Sophos has all these books of like the earliest records of this area, and then but they've all been updated to remove this.
Yeah.
So like they really hated this guy.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is because they have such a good memory with all of this, with their magic, anyone who was part of the removal has all that information still. But it's kind of as if they're sworn to secrecy that they can't say anything, and that's it.
Yeah.
That
Also,
one
though, it's
just-
only the descended in this area that have that.
Yes.
Like the mortals don't have it, and it seems like they have like a lot of mortals here.
Yeah, this again kind of feels like Umbros in the sense of that they're
very
free to have
integrated.
both. Yeah, exactly. And they all seem happy. They seem like they enjoy what they're doing. You know,
Yeah.
no problems. The only thing they don't have is being trained in combat, which you find out pretty quickly.
Their infrastructure is terrible when it comes to that. Like they are not prepared.
Oh, terrible. That was horrible. I felt so bad, but I'm like, what are you doing? There's nothing here to help.
Just steamrolled.
Yeah, it was, I mean,
If she was not there, this is what pisses me off. She saved so many of them, her and Luther, and then, you know, Doriel had the guts to do what they did.
I have a theory on that at the end.
Okay.
I don't know how well it ties in, but I do have a theory of like the reasonings behind it, but I'm just not sure if it actually has any, you know, merit
We'll
to
get
it.
there soon.
Yeah. But yeah, basically all hell breaks loose because Daddy-O is here and just causing all issues.
Yep.
But I will say that Doriel ends up helping in getting the Gryvern to be distracted and basically cause issues there. So at least they were willing to help out and not just be panicked. But I forgot to put this in my notes, but I just thought about it. Doesn't Diem end up having the weapon that she sees in her vision? So it's been hidden here this whole time.
Yep. So it was destiny that she was going to end up here.
Yeah. But the fact that she ends up having to get it back at some point too, because she doesn't keep it. They put it away. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's going to be
It's
an
going to be a
interesting
key
part.
piece.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So clearly that battlefield scene is going to happen, which means she's going to get off the island.
Right. It has to. I mean, with how many times I saw the freaking vision in the first 2 books. I mean, come on. But we also get, when the whole battle is going on, you had mentioned the 10-point star. And this seems to be protecting all of the guardians that are fighting alongside him.
Yeah.
It's a weird shield or something.
Yeah, I feel like it also kind of gave them like hive mindset too.
Yeah, because Diem ends up having the same thing. So this is where I was questioning, is her mindset also coming from him?
I was so confused by that. So then I was like, clearly leaving the mark in the cities he took over. I don't know.
Like, what power does that have? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really crazy, though, because, okay, all of these people are just going absolutely crazy. And they don't seem to be caring the fact that they're immortal going against Descended.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I get you have to be crazy to be in that type of vibe anyways. I mean,
Yeah, it was like another level.
right, exactly. Kind of felt like they were on some drug and they were just running rampant. One thing I wanted to mention too was I think they both have the magic to basically have a no care about killing, basically kill without remorse. Because in this part, I think he pretty much just demolishes a decent amount of people and does not seem to care. And I don't know if that's just his attitude, but because Diem's also shown parts of that at times, I'm questioning if this
Yeah.
also comes from his power. I don't know.
He probably is just, oof, has so much like vengeance and revenge he
I
wants.
mean,
Like
how
he's
many
just
years
like,
has he been there?
don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Seems like a long time.
Yeah. I don't get it. But then he up and lets her go.
That's the part that makes no sense.
So what does he need her for?
Her blood.
Probably. What's it going to destroy now, though? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking they can like come together and rule together. I don't know.
yeah, who knows?
Or maybe he knows she's going to become all the crowns and he's like, I'll just take her down and then I'll become the master.
Right, exactly. You know,
I don't know.
no idea.
Or maybe he needs to save her till the end. Because the Kindred came in and they wiped out the Everflame.
Yeah.
But if he realizes that she's half Everflame, maybe he knows that like he needs to do all this and then he needs to get rid of her to like remove the Everflame.
And the fact that it's been mentioned a few times that there was something that happened so tragically in the Kindred's home area or whatever, and he did not seem phased by it, which was Omnos is actually the realm's name.
Yeah.
Wasn't phased. So I don't know if he's trying to
like a
replicate
good
what's
guy.
happening here. Yeah, exactly. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a bad guy.
I think so too. I think he is truly going to be one of the top bad guys that just stays like that. Speaking about another bad guy, in this section, Vance goes basically to attack and kill a bunch of children. And this is where we find out that Luther ended up basically in going and saving and everything. But they end up just letting him go as well. What is it with this group?
I was really annoyed.
I was just so mad. I mean, Luther literally went through so much to go and try and save these kids. And she's, yeah, you know what? I'm going to let you go. We'll see how you do. What?
No, he's had too many chances. I was annoyed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
He should have just been eliminated right there.
Agreed.
Because I bet you anything, he's going to cause a major problem in book 4.
Oh,
that
yeah.
could have been avoided.
Yeah, agreed. It's going to cause an
Again,
issue
though,
with her family, I feel.
Yeah, or like he's going to end up taking out someone that's really important to her.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to be going back to the Umbros Queen. Like, you need to sacrifice things.
Yeah. I get you don't
And, like,
want to
make
kill,
decisions.
but yeah, make a decision.
You have to embrace it, yeah. In certain situations.
Yeah, unfortunately in war, there is going to be death, and you can't just fully avoid it at all costs. It's not going to save you.
Yep.
Or let someone else do it. As bad as that sounds, and I know that's a little bit of a cop-out or a coward way to go, but you literally could have just said to Luther, do it. I don't want him around. And he would have, without any question.
Yep.
So we have the final section, which is chapters 69 to 75, which we have basically gotten through the battle. Luther and Diem spend a few days basically before going to Coriel to determine, can she be coronated again, or is she going to be charged, for whatever crime she has, because of all of the crowns are meeting back up. So she had asked Sophos to help out with trying to get that situated so that she could try and get coronated. So she's officially Queen of Lumnos. And we talked about that. We find out about the Omnos being the 10th kindred and all of that there, which I did have a note that he could be as old literally as the kindred, because I don't know if Omnos ever made it out because he was put in this cell by the rest of the group. So I don't know if Ofake is Omnos, like the original Omnos, or not.
Could be.
Yeah. No idea.
Could be.
I think you had brought it up because I didn't pick up on the part of the salve that Diem was using on Taryn had blood in it. And this is when Diem starts to realize with her memory and her ability to go back and recall things that she wonders if the blood is the actual reason and had helped cure. So she ends up telling Sophos this.
Yeah, because a lot of them were injured.
Right, and saying, try it out, see how it goes.
Well, they were like, we have a cure, it's fine. And she was like, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So I thought she's very willing to give information as well. And has no problem with sharing that info either with others. I'm totally underplaying this section here, but this is when we finally get a scene between Luther and Diem after so much that goes on. We had so much build up to because Luther gives his entire POV while he was fighting in the battle.
They like have that entire like date set up.
I mean, this was 3 chapters of just everything.
Yeah.
And I knew that they was going to come to a, conclusion at some point because when you look at the book, it said 92%, 93% at that point. But
93.
Yeah. You know exactly. Page XYZ.
Yes.
But it was well done. We've talked about it before, that it was well done, but I just did not love how it was at the end. It felt very much a goodbye after reading the whole book. Good
point.
It felt a little bit more like okay, this is our one and only hurrah before, shit gets real.
If I ever see you again. Yeah.
Right.
I was just like, I was so annoyed. I was like, are we really not? I told you I had to Google it. Like, is it happening in this book? Because I was getting annoyed. 93% killed me.
Yeah.
I did think it was sweet though. For like the whole date planned, and then they had access to the libraries because he realized she has all these abilities. Because now she can like literally just like look at a page and know it instantly. So she could just skim thousands of books and be able to like recall them in their mind. And they get a couple extra days because then there's like roof work happening.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking anything of it. The only thing that like did a little bit annoy me was I was like, how realistic is this? Like, I feel like there were other opportunities where this scene could have happened where I'm like,
Agreed.
oh, the fact that like you guys just happen to have 3 days now where you can like plan a date and like nothing's going on and like it's just you two alone. It felt right after a massive battle and right before she's about to go like meet and potentially get taken for treason and all this stuff. The placement of it, I liked it, but I also was like, was this the most fitting for at least the first one? It would have made sense for something to happen here if there was some downtime, but I was like, there's so many other points I feel like this could have been slotted.
Yeah, we talked
like
about...
you said, when he became healthy.
Yes, exactly. And that's my thing, that's where I really was trying to figure out, was this just a calm before the storm and I might not see you for a long time. But yeah, I didn't love the placement at the first read. You know what I mean?
I was like just more so annoyed. Like, okay, 93% into a 1,000-page book and it's book 3 in a series. Are you kidding me? I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
Also though, like, I wish I would have picked up on the suspicions I had of like, why does like this roof thing now they get extra time?
Yeah.
When it seems like it was such a big deal to be able to get private access to this library. Now all of a sudden it was like perfectly fine.
Yeah, and the fact that obviously no one interrupted them, but they didn't even go out and leave. It literally was just a full amount of time there.
It was like, how are you getting food?
Yeah. I mean, well done in the sense of a scene. It was well done, but I do question.
Very well done.
Yeah, but I do question if it should have been placed somewhere else. I don't know.
Very well done. And then this is the scene where, what I mentioned at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
I think Luther does his half of the mating bond. With that apple scene is like after they've, had post-coital.
Yeah. I will admit though, I did not pick up on it being the mating bond, but I specifically picked up him cutting himself
On his heart. It was really weird.
It was odd, and I go, okay, he never really interest himself on accident. I don't know if it was this when she was telling him that she might be interested in a
Yeah.
future, basically. Okay. Yeah.
And then he just did it.
And then just did it.
No
Yeah.
confirmation, but I think he did it.
Yeah. Wouldn't shock me if that actually happened.
Yeah.
The only other important part that I felt like it came up when they were in the library area was when Diem was near the Evertree design. Her godhood ended up saying bring balance. And
Okay, so like just more stuff proving your theory.
yeah, but then I was also trying to figure out, because obviously her godhood has always been pretty much fight, destroy, kill, and then bring balance.
Now it's being nice.
Right, it's being nice. We've flipped, you know. You got some lovely sexy time in with Luther, and now you're just bring balance, namaste. You know, you've totally changed the vibe. So I'm just curious on where that's going to go, because it was kind of just mentioned, and then that's it. We don't get anything else.
Yeah, she doesn't really seem to think deeper about any of these things.
No, and here I am just trying to figure out what everything means.
She's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, come on, critical thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
This is right before they're about to go.
Yeah.
Diem makes a bonded bargain with Doriel. Doriel kind of like connects that Ofakai's her father, and like he's the one who attacked, and Doriel's pissed. And so they make a bonded bargain, basically saying that Diem will kill her birth father, and I forget what Doriel will get if Diem doesn't. I think it was just like she would give up all of her powers, because Doriel at this point can see what she can do, and they're very concerned. I think this is like echoing back to the original Kindred being nervous. So yeah, Diem says, I'm going to kill my birth father. Don't worry. Like she's like so confident about making this bargain, and then if she doesn't, she loses her powers, whatever. And I believe there was also a time frame put on that she had to do it within.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't pick up on that part, but
I think there was, but I could be wrong. And instantly when they made this bonded bargain, I was like, ooh, this is going to bite her in the ass. I thought differently
100%.
though. I was like, oh my god, what if she finds out her dad is actually this good person, and she is like, I can't kill him now, like we're fighting for the same thing. Now after reading the book, I'm like, oh, this is why Doriel made it, because Doriel knew we're putting her in a cell. She's never going to be able to fulfill her end.
Yeah.
And someone else is going to kill him, and she's going to lose her powers.
Yeah. And when they were doing this bonded bargain, the blade that Doriel has, Diem seems is way too familiar. And immediately I thought, okay, did they kill Andre?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I go, this is way too much of a callback.
And I thought we were going to get confirmation on that, because it seemed like that was the line of thinking she was going down.
Yeah, I thought so too. But again, must be something that we truly get confirmation in the fourth one. Now that...
Yeah, and this is just like when Doriel, like you start to pick up, they are kind of a snake.
I know. And I just can't figure out fully if they are in the truly bad and only want the descendant to be of power and they don't care about the mortals, or if they're working both sides. And
I don't know, you did mention though that Umbros Queen said something about how they were breeding descendants to get rid of certain realms.
Right. They were trying to figure out if they could, you know, oh, if you put these two together, you don't get this one, you only get this version. And yeah. I don't know. They just seem too slimy to have any good.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay if Diem ends up taking this crown. Totally fine with it.
Oh, same. I do not like Doriel.
Neither do I.
I think, honestly, Doriel spineless and is just another one where opportunistic. Like, just going to do whatever to keep their area and themselves good.
Agreed.
It does not care about how it impacts anyone else. Like, just very much focus on this. This is my whole world, even though this is the world.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because they keep all the books and all the research for the entire world, but they seem to only care about their own area.
Yeah. And it truly does seem as if, well, we have all the information, so none of you can survive without us either.
Yeah, and I was gonna say kind of like that superiority complex, like, oh, we're so smart, we're so much better than you.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it kind of gets, DM just makes decisions out of emotions a
Mm,
decent amount of times in this series, and that one was
yeah.
definitely one that she was
Some
making
of
out
these
of,
realms I feel like are kind of playing up on like stereotypes
uh,
in the real world, like
yeah,
the big strong army guys like hating women
yeah,
and like thinking women are weak, and like the ultra smart people thinking they're better than everyone. Like it kind of mirrors that.
yeah. That's a good point. Each of them do have their own
Yeah, I mean, I can't make the
stereotype in a
argument
way.
for any of the other realms, but those
Yeah,
two I just feel like it
yeah,
kind
oh
of fits
yeah,
like that.
yeah. The ones that she's had probably the biggest issues with so far have
Mm-hmm.
been like that. And Igneos is
Yeah.
similar. I mean, I don't like him to begin with, but Igneos is another one that truly is against certain people. I mean,
Yep.
there were
Yeah.
barely anyone alive in his realm anyways.
Yeah. And the other reason why they were kind of like doing this bargain stuff too is because she realizes that the crowns need to vote for her to be basically found innocent in order for her to be coronated. And so she needs a majority vote. So she's trying to figure out like who would vote for her. Now she knows two votes are going to be from her for her two areas. So she was trying to get Doriel to vote for her. Um, so that's going on at the same time, which becomes a big piece.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they end up going into basically the circle. They all lose their powers. They're trying to
Yeah.
determine and kind of pleading her case of, I
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the attack. You know, I just basically want
Yeah,
to be
and she's not saying
coronated.
Doriel. Yeah, Doriel doesn't know that she has three crowns at this point. And so she was like, I know I have three votes, but Doriel doesn't know why she knows that.
Yeah. And then my favorite, Queen Ambrose, comes in and basically just makes a scene per
Yeah,
usual.
they didn't think she was going to show up, and they were trying to do like the vote without her.
Yeah.
Tian's like, no, I need her.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's still alive. I kind of need her on my side and hope that she's still
Yeah.
okay with it.
Oh, and Luther was also going to go to the island with her, and Luther's told by Doriel, you have to stay.
That should have
And
been a
that's when
red
Luther
flag.
looks at his palm and he sees something on his palm. And next thing you know, Luther's on the island, so he knew she was going there. So I was like, at first I was like, maybe, like I said earlier, maybe his mating mark was there and he's like followed it. But the mating mark would be where you did it. So I think his would be on his heart. So I'm
Yeah.
like, did she slip him something? I don't know.
I also just question if he just realized things because he's a lot smarter. This entire series, he has found things out faster than anyone else. And I question if he found out that, okay, something sketchy is going on. So I need to be
Yeah.
there regardless.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because he gets there.
Yeah. And also the fact that we find out as they're making the basically decision that she's going to live on this in this cell pretty much like her father, and they're just going to keep her here and it's going to be okay for everyone. That Doriel brought Teller as collateral so that she pretty much would
Yes.
do this.
Do it. Yep. But yeah, if not, she would have taken them all out.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the fact that she probably would have still had powers at times. So,
Yeah. But this is where your girl went down.
she went down basically ready to, just have a blast.
She knew it was coming, though. I think she knew that this is. And I think that's why she was the last one to show up.
Yeah,
She's
borrowed
going on
time.
her terms.
Yo, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the fact that Igneos pretty much is the one to kill her, as she was saying that she was siding with DM as well, was pretty much yeah, we're not going to listen to you. We're just going to go forward with our side.
Yeah.
But she ended up, but she also went out pretty well. She ended up stabbing Igneos as well. So,
Yeah, with the Godstone.
yeah.
And as she was dying, she said to DM, remember what I told you about my heir.
Again, super powerful, and I have a couple ideas, but I have no idea if that's actually gonna, what's gonna happen there.
Yeah, and she, like, yeah, Yourcell basically just, like, scratches Igneos with the Godstone. Like, that little bit
Yeah.
disappointed
Was it
him.
in her nails? She had it on
I
like the
think-
tip of her
yeah.
nails. My girl.
She knew. She came in with a plan. I love it. She definitely saw who was going to take her out. Mm-hmm. And she knew.
She just,
But then it sucked because then
yeah.
they all voted to put her in the cell.
Yeah. Which I will say, this is where I was questioning if Doriel had some type of insight into the fact that Oathcake could still come onto the island because he is a crown,
Mm-hmm.
potentially. And I was questioning the fact that they said, okay, no one else besides a crown was allowed on the island, and everyone else would pretty much just die if they're on here or as soon as they touch the land. Which is Igneos pretty much does the same stuff with burning everyone as soon as they touch his
Mm-hmm.
realm. So I just didn't know if this was me thinking into it of maybe had a second plan as well, that the only person that would come and save Diem would be her father at this point. And that just is
Yeah.
me thinking it's the
I
only
think it's
person
gonna
who can
have
get
to be
there.
him.
Has to.
I have two thoughts
Yeah.
too, like around the cell situation. Doriel, while I hate them,
Yeah.
I do think maybe the reason why the roof stuff took longer was Doriel knew she had this power. Maybe somewhere in those books she can either learn the history or learn a way out or a way to do something. So
True.
maybe Doriel, it's also maybe a test of like, well, if you're intelligent enough to figure your way out, then I'll maybe bend the knee to you. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's me just trying to give a glimmer. But to go off my mate theory with Luther in DM, so before she goes in, she also kind of gets a little bit stabbed.
Yeah.
And is like, it feels like warm and whatever.
Yeah.
And like I said, when he got to the island, Luther said it worked. So we learned, I want to say, maybe in Glow, if not, it happened in the Forto section, that when people are in prison, basically no one can visit them except for their mates. The mates are allowed to visit. So I wonder if they are mated, if he can now come to the island and visit her in the cell,
Ooh.
or if that only works for the Forto's prison.
That would be an interesting idea if he could.
Yeah.
And they don't even realize it yet.
So it could be a way of like maybe Luther could come and find some way to rescue her. I don't know.
Yeah.
If not though, it definitely would be her dad, and he probably could find her by that little mark he left on her.
Yeah. And because that also gives her protection. So I don't know. Does that also help her a bit with being stabbed? Or maybe it's
Yeah.
just a tracker in a way that he can find where she is. Because he pretty much just followed her everywhere. The only place he didn't follow to is Lunos.
Yeah. Oh, and that curse that they like put, basically anyone who was on the island after sundown was going to be killed. So Igneos can't get off because he's poisoned. So he's about to die, which means
Yeah.
she's gonna get the crown for him while she's there.
Right.
And then as everyone was trying to escape, Perth
Oh,
ended up dying.
that was so sad because it just
It
went,
was sad.
you know, he was the
I
one
thought I
that
was
she
gonna
ended
tell
up
her for a
saving.
hot second.
I thought so too, but it really did seem like Luther and Perth had a conversation of, okay, one of us is sacrificing ourselves, and the only person who is going to be you, bud, because,
Yeah.
it's not going to
The
be
other thing
Teller.
was, Orly had to help kind of negotiate with the Guardians who had taken over area of the island so that they could come and do the ceremony.
Yeah.
But are there still Guardians on this island? So, and if so, do they get off? Are they dead? Like, how many people were impacted by this?
I know, because I think even at that point, Arbros, she was, I think, trying to get people, and because I
Yeah.
think they were closer to her port or whatever it was. And they were trying to get everyone off. But yeah, it wouldn't shock me if there were a lot that went down.
They waited until the last second.
Yeah, they purposely, I think, did it
Yeah.
to test everyone and see who would leave.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole ending, and like you said, I think Igneos will die while they're there because there's nothing that can really cure him.
Yeah.
It's not like he knows about the fact that Diem's blood could cure him. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Also, Diem was stabbed in the heart, which, if she did do the mating thing, it would be really sweet that both of theirs would be over their hearts.
ooh, yeah, that's true. That'd be kind of nice. Matching scars.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, I was able to work in all of my theories too.
Yeah. I had two other things besides what we had talked about, but
Hmm.
one was with Diem in losing her powers. So she will end up breaking this bargain of not being able to kill her father because I don't think she's going to want to, or maybe she can't and she's going to need help from someone else, or maybe not right now. But with her dying, and I'm doing air quotes, does that break the bargain with death? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it over, or is because I'm assuming she's still alive. Let's be real, right? Mm-hmm. Does it break it, or will she end up losing her powers? I mean, I don't know how that comes into play.
That's a good point.
I just don't know how the bonded bargain works at that point, except I know you lose your powers.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, if they die, it's null and void, but if she comes back to life, is it reinstated? I don't know.
Peekaboo, here I am. No more bonded bargain.
And if she does lose her powers, do you think maybe Luther would give up his powers? Like the Kindred did?
I think so.
To be with their mortal mates?
Yeah, I think so. But would she still be descended? Yeah, she would still be descended without her powers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Remus is still.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, this is where, again, with the 11 must fall, do 11 people also give her powers? I don't know. So many different things. I guess I'm more interested. This is probably the first book that obviously we read them way too quick back to back, but the fourth one, I just have so many things that I want answered. So for me, you know what I mean? They were, okay, this is the last one. We kind of need the answers.
Yeah, because it's being wrapped up in the next book. And hopefully we get a release date soon.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, so we talked a lot about how Umbros basically said her heir would be her biggest challenge, or DM's biggest challenge. And I was questioning, is this that because DM could potentially go against her own beliefs and want to kill the crown specifically and not care about saving all the descended? Because if her father saves her, she might have a lot of vengeance towards the crowns, more than what she had to begin with. I mean, she had wanted to save everyone, but could she also be going against herself and have to fight that inner turmoil that would create her as her biggest problem?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like, is she going to lose herself?
Yeah,
in this process?
Yeah. And then I think Luther's going to have to be the one to bring her back, is my guess.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm on, but who knows where this could go.
I don't know. I've been proved wrong a decent amount of times, so could be the case. Could be the case. I don't think I had any other theories or questions, weirdly enough.
I didn't either. I was able to work them all in.
Yeah. Wow, okay. I really am shocked that we actually fit that into all one episode. I feel like we had so much to talk about with this part specifically. There's just a lot that happens, and then the whole book in general. But we have finally come to the end of talking about this series as of now.
Very excited for book 4.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. We'll probably do an episode on ideas and even more theories of what's coming to the 4th book right before the release. But in terms of our next episode, we are going to be covering The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. So super excited to read this. 'Cause
we're only like 3 years late to this book.
Only 3 years late, and this has been on my TBR forever.
Better late than never.
Yep. We're going to follow that mindset through the end. You know, for more things Booktrover, just follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Booktroverts and same for our Fable Book Club. So you'll see what we're reading and just follow along with us there. And well, I guess we'll stay tuned. See you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.